Primary ignition.
Hi, I'm Angus McGinnis. I play John Dutchman, Gold Leader. I want to welcome you to the Virtual Cantina Network.
Oh, rest in peace, Angus.
One with the Force.
Godspeed, Gold Leader. Godspeed. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week episode 6 of Skeleton Crew. We are very excited to be here for another week. Once again, I'm Spencer. Thanks to Jeff, I am the CSO, I guess, of the Virtual Cantina Network. I'm one of your hosts for the night. Here with Jeff. How are you, sir?
Good. Looking forward to another fun episode.
And Dave, how are you?
Hey, doing well, sir.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to be back here. We're glad to be here right after the New Year's. Hopefully you all had a great New Year's. We are just under 110 days before Star Wars Celebration Japan, which is crazy. Thanks to, first and foremost, everybody who bought tickets for the National Virtual Cantina. We sold out in 4 minutes yesterday.
How was that even possible?
Yeah. Hey, it happens. Very excited, but thank you so much to everybody who bought. We have a waiting list for tickets if you're interested in that. But it's been a really great time. Don't forget, we are brought to you by Hyperspace Props for all your sabacc needs and your prop needs. Go to hyperspaceprops.com. Use the code NSVCSE for 10% off of your purchase. I just got the brand new Kessel sabacc set, so I'm very excited about that. But yeah, we're gonna have some great sabacc going on at the Not So Virtual Cantina. But we're getting it started right now. We've got a lot of people jumping in. We're very happy to bring back. He was the fight coordinator and also one of the stuntmen for Skeleton Crew, Mr. Nick Benseman. Nick, how are you, sir?
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's our absolute pleasure. So obviously we all know this is an interactive show. So Dave, how would somebody ask a question of Nick or make some comments?
The question is, how would you not ask the questions? We are on all the streaming platforms. Just type in your thing and it pops up right here in our little comments. Like we are seeing the comment right there from Sherry. Hello there, Sherry.
How you doing?
Sherry is over on the Facebook, but I am monitoring the Instagram, all the YouTube, everything pops up right in here. So any questions you have for Nick, put right there in the chat and we'll pass them along and put at as many as we possibly can up here on screen for you.
Well, we're very glad to have you here. Also representing the Neil Nation. So, get your virtual Neil Nation t-shirt available on our TeePublic store right now. I literally got it the other day. I was very excited about repping that tonight. So, gotta love some Neil. And, Nick, what'd you say? Neil Nation or you a Grogu lover?
Oh, that's what you got to make me choose, huh?
That's right.
Can't be an easy question.
I love Grogu. Oh.
Said I love it.
Hello?
Spencer's doing his thing. You're fine.
No. Love Grogu, and obviously that face is so adorable. But I got to work with Neil, so I got kind of
get a little different kind of vibe between you two because of that interaction. I'm sure.
Right,
definitely.
Plus, Neil can talk. I can understand Neil. I can't understand Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu babbles for the most part, right? Lots of cooing.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. So we're very excited to have you back tonight. And one of the things I was very excited about was, and I've been plugging to everybody who's watching with us right now, is you were able to get something for us to do an exclusive here on the Virtual Cantina Network. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? You could do the introduction before we show it.
Yeah. So what in stunts, what we do is, if I'm segueing the correct one, Dave, nod my head. That's right, I think.
Okay.
Is what we do is something called previs.
Yeah.
So beautiful. So it's practice before we get on set. Otherwise, we'd show up and we'd have to plan everything out and choreograph it there. Or if even we had it choreographed, we'd still have to walk everybody through it, including, the actors, director, camera crew, everybody that have to be on the same board because we have to understand what's going on. That would take a lot of time. So instead, we do something called pre-visualization. And we shoot this in generally a rehearsal space, sometimes a stunt gym, wherever we have maybe like an extra studio on the lot. And then we put our own little effects into it after we've choreographed it out and shot it and put an edit to it. And this is kind of like a moving storyboard. And this is the SM33 fight. Basically the locked one that we said, this is what we're going to use as a template to shoot.
That's really cool. From what I'm hearing, that was there a lot more of this type of thing done because this show was shot with the kids and their time on set was so limited? I know you're doing it with the stunts and the kids weren't necessarily so much the stunting, at least they haven't so far.
It's pretty standard now, actually. 10 years ago, it was a new thing. It was almost a niche kind of thing. But I used to be or train and work with a group called 8711, and they kind of help push previs out into the mainstream norm. There's some other coordinators that have been doing it as well too, but that kind of became, since a lot of coordinators started doing it, now it's kind of industry standard. A lot of people would like to see it. So it definitely helps with the kids because their time is so limited on set. Plus they have to do schooling or whatever else, is in their contract. So it definitely makes it easier, but yeah, we do pretty much a lot of it. And even when we don't have it for some acting sequences, they do kind of like a animatic. So it's also another moving pre-board, very normal sometimes in the days of Marvel and now also Disney as well.
Excellent. Well, we will go ahead and everybody go ahead, and it's going to be, this is not like watch along. You have to go find it somewhere. This is going to be, we're going to put this right up here on the screen for you to check out. And Nick, feel free to talk over and tell us kind of some of what we're seeing.
It might cut out our mic. So if your mic icon is crossed out, you can unmic or unmute yourself if you want to say something. I'm not sure.
I'll throw in a note or something after you guys have seen it. It moves kind of quick, so
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to do that. If it doesn't mute you, you can feel free to talk as much as you want. We'll talk as well.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. All right. Well, here we go. Okay, I tried to unmute you so you could.
Oh, okay.
That was amazing.
Technically do it.
Thank you.
That was amazing.
It was a fun sequence.
That's the ultimate dodgeball right there. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, put SM33 in a dodgeball game.
Yeah, that was
he can dodge a wrench.
Yeah, right. that last part, I'd love to take credit, but that was completely John Watson, the writers, and everybody else on that production that came up with that. They showed us how they wanted it to kind of be, and we put our own spin on it. But that last part was just amazing, and it was so funny, and that's the actual sound effect that they used as a template. And I'm sad when I went back and watched it again. I'm like, oh, I should have been in there, but hey.
So did you guys get provided the soundtrack, or was that scratch built audio?
No, I put all those sounds in myself. Okay. And I mean, most of the sounds in myself. I might have used something else, but then the music is from a big library I have. Sound effects too. Right. Sometimes I make my own. So
just the action kind of tempo is what you needed, and
it's just to give an idea. And obviously,
sound effects sell it. That's really from the beginning.
It's one of the key things that I'm one of those dorks that went through film school, and one of the first things they teach you is that you can have an amazing picture, but if the sound is bad, it's just unwatchable. Yet you could do it the other way, where the picture can be blurry, black and white, God knows what else, but if you have great sound, it still carries.
Definitely, very cool. That was a fun watch. Is that online somewhere where we can track it down?
No, it's I got to put that in my new demo, and I know that no, basically it's not.
That is exclusive. You saw it here first and only here for the time being.
It will be online on Facebook and on YouTube and on Insta and X, but
remember, you saw it here first. So, you saw it here first. So, Nick, thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ask some questions about that, please ask them, in the chat. But Nick, tell us about, I know you had some other footage and stuff about how you got the job, working within Star Wars or anything like that. But why don't you paint us a picture of what got you to what we just watched?
Well, I was 5 years old when I discovered Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
feel free, go
all day. We're here for that.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I mean, very, very brief. But started in martial arts, acting, and was introduced. I mean, at 5 years old, but I was introduced to Star Wars, I think at 3, and it became instantly my favorite movies, the original trilogy. And every Sunday I would be watching it. It would be like a ritual for me before I had to go to school the next day. My mom would make like a little blanket. My sister and I would, have a whole bunch of snacks, and my mom would hide, vegetables and hummus and other things in there. So we have fun doing it, but we're just watching Star Wars for the whole day, just the trilogy back to back. And I do it pretty much every week. But when I grew up, it was acting, martial arts. I got out of high school, wanted to get into acting again because I was a child actor. And I went on a stunt audition that my dad's friend had told me about because his best friend was Kevin Costner's stunt double, who became a coordinator. And it just kind of led that way eventually. And lo and behold, several years later, film school, everything kind of comes together. And I started designing action sequences, making previses, fight choreography, fight coordinating, stunt coordinating. And in this particular case, we just had some downtime. I think I was coming off of Spider-Man, No Way Home, and I had done one or two smaller projects in between. And a buddy of mine came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do a Star Wars fan film?" I said, "Yes, I've been dying to do it. I just never had the time." So my friend Josh Maybe came up with this concept. I believe he came up with the concept, and he shot and edited and did the effects in it, and he killed it. And I love how he shoots because it's very similar to how I do it as well too. So we spoke that language of film and cinema with using the frame. And then my friend Christopher Troy, Troy Gonzalez, he hates it when I call him Christopher, played the smuggler. Like, he had this really cool idea about what if a smuggler type Han Solo character took on a Jedi. And I'm like, well, that wouldn't happen. And he's like, well, let's play with this idea. So we, in an afternoon, we came together, choreographed it out, I had a plush of lightsabers because I mean just have a bunch of them, and
who doesn't? You have to do that.
Yeah, and I also I
always need one nearby to ready to.
Yes, there we go. I'll bring out in the closet. I have a whole bunch over here because I also make them as well too.
Oh, nice.
We'll get to that later. Yeah, he said let's try something a little bit different because studying all 7 different styles of the Jedi lore and then other possibilities within the universe as well. We wanted to see something that you haven't seen before. So we did in one afternoon, we shot this little fan film, and we were playing with certain things like, well, should we do this or not do this? Or, I haven't seen this before. And we kept some of it classic and some things were very new. And the ironic thing is that when we put it up online, we had a lot of love and then also a lot of hate, as you always do.
Well,
and the fans that are so diehard were like, a Jedi wouldn't move like that. That's how you can't block with a hand and with a blaster with a hand. Actually, Vader did it in the original series, and then also Rey does it in the new ones. And I don't think you know what you're talking about. And then I showed that to a stunt coordinator friend of mine who was my boss on Spider-Man. And he said, what's fun? And it was just over coffee one afternoon. I didn't even know he had the show. And he's like, I actually have the new Skeleton Crew series. It wasn't called Skeleton Crew at the time, but the new Star Wars series. I said, oh my gosh, you got it. Like, if I'll just come on, I'll clean toilets for you. I don't care what it is. And he looked at it. He's like, this is really helpful. And he showed it to production.
You need toilets cleaned.
Yeah. Right. And this little fan video is what ended up getting me the job as fight coordinator on Skeleton Crew. So
wow. So everybody who's out there shooting their talks with fighting with their lightsabers, I'm looking at you, Skip. I'm looking at you.
He can do some flourishes.
It is not a waste of your time. That can get you the job. And we are not just talking about this. We have the video. Okay.
Oh, we have evidence.
Yes, we have the video, and we are going to show it to you right now, and then we can talk some more about that. So let us take a look at that one. Bear with me on the quality a little bit. I had to do some things, but we can also post you the link in the chat to the high resolution one of this that you can see. All right, here we go.
Well, this was bound to happen. So what? Duel to the death?
I don't have to kill you.
Kill me? The council wouldn't allow it. You regret?
Crystal.
When I was with her, she said her name was Shannon. Okay.
Kyber.
Hot.
Crystal.
Someone like you should really choose a side.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very, very, very cool. That was amazing. It must have been a lot of fun to be the Jedi in that as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even though it was we did it ourselves, it was a dream come true. So
there was some great moves in there with the, slamming them to the ground after you forced them back. And
thank you. Yeah,
like okay, Jedi would do that. Be darned. I mean, that's very like Luke Skywalker when he's in the black outfit. It's very like later Anakin. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And
I'm sorry. Go
we're
ahead.
all here for a different take on Star Wars, which is of course what Skeleton Crew kind of is. So.
Yeah, and we were playing. I mean, originally the idea is like, oh, well, you're a good Jedi, so you wouldn't kill him. I'm like, well, why don't I want to be a gray Jedi. Come on, let's play with this. Like nobody's put this in. Well, not nobody, but nobody in the mainstream, shows have put this in so far, like in the live action ones. I'm like, I really want to play with this. At least, I mean, well, there's a couple like Qui-Gon Jinn and some other people that have definitely played with this, but a lot of people don't get to call it what it is. So, and then also my favorite color is green just in general, and I wanted a green saber. I'm like, let's do a purple one. I'm like, oh, yeah, that just feels right for some reason. So
it really kind of
yeah. So I had to ask. I saw the purple lightsaber, and I had to ask if the hilt actually said BMF on it because Sam.
Hell yes, absolutely. There you go. I got his blessing for it to. No, I didn't.
Nice.
That's another exclusive. Okay. No, that was just absolutely incredible. It's like living your best Jedi life. Being able to play in the wars and actually do the stuff too, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun to do. I want to do another one. Actually, we were going to do a joke one next where we were just in the inflatable dinosaur suits because just to kind of continue on and make fun of some of the people that were hating on us so much. I'm like, guys, this is just for the love of doing it.
Oh yeah.
And then I wanted to do another serious one too, to just kind of push forward in a little bit more of the choreo way. But it was funny when I had just gotten the job and started working on Skeleton Crew. I'm still looking at the reviews on that video because they were starting to blow up a little bit more around that time, and the fans are like, you don't know real choreography, you'd never be on one of the shows. I'm like, oh god, don't you know? It's ironic enough.
Funny.
So did you shoot that in like Sepulveda Dam area or something?
It looks like it, right?
Yeah.
No. There is a little have you heard of the Oakwood Apartments up by Universal?
Yeah, on the side of the hill, it's like the other side, isn't it?
So I had just moved out of there a couple of years ago.
The ones off Parham, right?
Yes. And there is this little parking structure area that's hidden, and it gives you a hidden trail all the way up to what's called the Wisdom Tree on top.
Right. That's right above there, exactly.
Yeah. And that's the entrance to it. And I've always been wanting to shoot something there for the 4 years that I lived there. And anytime I put them together, it would kind of fall apart. And when Troy and Josh said, hey, where do we shoot this? I'm like, I got the perfect place. And we're not going to be bothered at all. We can get this done in just a couple hours. So,
yeah, because I was like, it looks like traveled, but not too traveled, and has some elements that reminded me of like the basin with the big kind of wall concrete thing with the graffiti on it and other things.
Yeah.
But it was enough nondescript that I wasn't positive. So that's kind of
And we were I think because Josh said maybe we'll shoot over there. And I'm like, it's just been used so often. Everybody's saying, let's use something that no one's used so far.
You didn't want to ride out to Vasquez Rocks to
we talked about that too.
Thorn fight.
Right. Yeah, we definitely it came across our radar and played with it. I was like, that's a little bit more Star Trek for me, but I'm like, so
we definitely need to see a T-Rex doing the behind the back Anakin spin. I mean,
I'm so down.
Off.
Yeah, no, I have a way to do it. I definitely have a way to do it. Maybe I'll just like put it on an afternoon. I'll just do one for you guys. And
there you go. We'd appreciate it.
Okay. That'd be absolutely incredible. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the content again. We greatly appreciate it. But we are going to be watching episode 6 of the Skeleton Crew. And one of the things we'll talk about as well is that This was the episode directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, if you've watched Bryce's other episodes of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, she gets the heart
Yeah,
of Star Wars
she hit you in the feels.
every single time. I was lucky to meet her in Fayetteville, Boston this past summer, and she's a delight. Every person I've ever spoken to says that she is just awesome. Did you have much time with Bryce? I know she only did the one episode, but like conversations?
No, I met her very briefly in passing. I didn't get to, and it wasn't even in a day where it was on set and makeup. I think it was just, honestly, I remember meeting her, but no, unfortunately, I didn't get to. I was kind of in and out of the shows. I didn't get to ride the whole ride all the way through it. I was working on another movie at the same time doing that.
Right.
That's too bad.
But
She seems like she'd be very cool to interact with one way or another.
Oh yeah, I heard nothing but amazing things the whole time. So,
and she comes from such a incredible Hollywood family.
Well, that people have the opportunity to meet in the new year is the Howard trio is going to be at in Orlando?
Yeah, at MegaCon, it's going to be Bryce, Clint, and first time ever Ron's doing a con.
That's
so
crazy.
You can meet all three of them together. And they announced they're doing a full Happy Days reunion at this con as well. They brought in Anson, they brought in Henry Winkler,
Donnie Most,
and
so Ron, of course.
Four main actors as part of this con.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's good. That one is one that like piqued my interest the most. Having Henry and Ron, who are kind of the big names, and then peppering it in with Donnie and Anson. That was a show that I was all about in the 70s. So
that's right.
Absolutely. Well, we're about that time right now. So please, everybody, get your D pluses all queued up to episode 6. And when everybody's all set, Jeff, hit the
all right. So here comes the countdown. And no skipping any recaps.
Yeah, right. I remember last time.
But like even the hit you in the feels, the Zero Friends again. The title of this episode is just
yeah.
That's the other thing is all the titles are taken directly from dialogue, which is very cool. I find.
Yeah,
I always
I
like
love
to
that
say
when you do the thing in a movie like that. That's a good.
That's the line.
Okay, that's so awesome. I laugh every time when they talk about Captain Renard, which is Donner backwards.
Yeah,
it's such a nod to Richard Donner. That's
There's tons of that stuff in this show, which makes it more fun. Because I mean, it's just as easy to throw that in there and give somebody some props as it is to just make up a weird Star Warsy name.
Yeah, right.
So one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately, especially because obviously there's a lot of talk about this series being for our generation or for the kids of the 80s, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you think Star Wars is better when the formula is for the kids like it was initially anticipated, or do you think that peppering in, the more serious like an Andor is, where Star Wars should be? I mean, there's an argument for both sides.
Well, I think it's circumstantial and situational to the storyline, right? I think there's different things that I like that it explores some of the more serious side and the more maybe political or the more fun. And I think that, obviously what Lucas had originally intended when it was for kids, but the adults just loved it. It's like that happy accident that you're catching lightning in a bottle, as even Mark Hamill said one time, that you don't know what you're going to do, but you kind of just keep rolling with it. It's the same thing of, Spielberg with Jaws. What he had originally intended and what came out is
Yeah, the way he was able to pick up the pieces of that production as it went along.
Exactly. And so I think that you try to keep with the tone of it, but I definitely think that there's a lot of life and love and leeway to go into separate directions, like Andor, when it felt that guttural, visceral kind of feel. You know, it's just nice because it keeps it fresh and it can keep it new and exciting. You know, done well.
Definitely.
Well, and I love the way they throw in little homages to other properties. Like this scene we just watched was completely
straight up right out of Goonies.
Totally went straight down the water slide.
100%, right?
Exactly, like almost shot for shot.
Oh yeah.
Well, and it also was very grounded in Star Wars because that's Luke sliding out at the bottom of Cloud City.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, right. You know, one thing I was thinking about when we first saw that, I was like, the thing they talked about, you know, in Goonies, they cut out the scene, was they talked about the octopus. So I thought it would be kind of funny if they actually had some sort of like space octopus or something out there as like a nod to those who knew Goonies.
I felt they had reversed it and had used the Cthulhu character as sort of a stand-in octopus prior to them going down there, right?
I kind of thought the same thing, but you know, good point, Spencer. I didn't even think about that.
But look at this. You got Jude Law right here, who's basically like Smee in Hook when he steals all of Hook's jewelry.
Yeah.
Or the fact that, you know, it's almost like if you ever seen the movie The Mummy, the Brendan Fraser one, this is like Benny.
Yeah. You just loaded up with all the gold. Yeah, totally. And you know, it's ironic because he came pretty much right from being Hook to this with us.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone else notice also like a lot of creatures in the background are from Canto Bight?
Yeah, that was talking one of the wrap-ups about that they used because it's a luxury spa or whatever. What I like about this scene specifically is that it gives us a lot of knowledge on who actually didn't get killed in the acid bath part of them plundering the treasure.
Well, but then more getting killed right here when the ship totally bites it.
That's true. Right. But everybody was like, "Oh, there goes Urkel," and it was like, "Nope, he's still around. Let's see how much farther he gets."
Yeah.
You don't see a body and nobody's gone.
Somehow Urkel returns.
That's it. Well, there's another shirt.
He doesn't the
somehow pile. The somehow pile. All right.
Can't get rid of Urkel. I mean, come on. He was just too cool to work with too. So.
Was he a fanboy on set? Like, was he like, oh my god, I'm in Star Wars, or was he just completely chill?
We kind of all were, honestly.
Everybody was fanboying on Urkel while he was fanboying on Star Wars.
It was a double, because I think I mentioned last time, like I look over, I didn't know he was going to be there. I'm like, is that Urkel?
Like nudging the guy next to you.
Yeah. Jamal, he was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Got any cheese?
Any tea?
Cheese.
Oh, cheese. Yeah.
One of his lines. Good old Family Matters. I love how they revert to being stupid little kids when like the X-Wings are chasing that ship flying away. And they're like, they left us. It's like, yeah, they didn't see you, first of all. And second of all, they've got something else going on, even if they did see you.
A little preoccupied in that moment.
And then this whole dynamic between these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
once again, showing that this is not a kid's show. Like this episode, I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, it's very much emotion driven.
Yeah, and it becomes kind of almost a little coming of age as well, too, right? Because
they both everybody gets some sort of realizations at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the fact that it very well could be for kids, but then it keeps the adults' attention as well.
Yeah.
I mean, my absolute favorite of that is all the adult humor that they would throw in classic Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny and stuff. It's like, throw in the jokes for the parents who are stuck watching too.
Well, and they break it up here with the tension in that last scene with these wacky little hermit crabs using droid parts as homes and being able to somehow speak.
Yeah.
I love it's almost like the Noddy from Ahsoka, but at the same time they're being covered by you see a mouse droid.
The funniest one is the leg of a protocol droid sticking up. That one's classic. I had what was it? I think the Screen Crush wrap up for this episode talked about all these crab characters, including the one, spoiler alert, we're going to see in a moment. Were all stop motion, which is amazing, and you get a feel for it for the big one, but for these little ones, it's like I don't think it's noticeable at all.
Yeah, it's done really well, that's for sure.
And they just did a special that came out, I believe, yesterday, a video that it was actually Phil Tippett and Tippett Studios that did the stop
Well, there we
motion.
go. Our friend Kate probably had something to do with it as well. So that's awesome. Yeah, it's totally Phil's style. I mean, he is the master of stop motion at this point.
Well,
He's like the new Harryhausen.
Yep.
Style and little things to throw into the pop culture for kids and this and that is you almost expected the crab to start singing "Shiny."
Well, yeah, that was Tamatoa. I'm sorry, that was totally melodic. I was
gonna come out of that hole with Jod and be like covered in sparklies and start singing,
right?
Well, and I think, and hear me out on this, on the previs, all I thought about is that last shot where 33 throws it at the guy. That had to be a nod to Favreau and Elf, right? The long distance, like snowball throw.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah, that's a
good way to get in get in good with the boss.
It feels, well, I mean, it was just I thought it was just a beautiful moment. Well, a fun moment as well too. But that last little kind of hook to get you, and he did that one take, by the way, too.
Oh wow! Yeah, it was like I was thinking that actually, in the moment, I'm like, I wonder how many times they shot that, and then that's amazing. What I really loved about the whole way you did that was that the kids were played by full size actors, and you had that massive man as SM33.
Yeah,
towering over them. So
yeah, and those are
like the idea of the sight lines that you'll see in the show.
Yeah, and well, that's one of the ways we had to. I mean, they had an actual SM33 bot that was puppeteered, but for the quick movement, it was Zach there in mocap, and he was a big guy. He used to be in the NBA. He dunked on Kobe at one point. Apparently.
Oh,
that's what he said. I'm like, I believe it too. Yeah. So and the little ones, they're all the stunt doubles that actually were for each character there. So
okay.
Was Molly Miller one of them?
Yes, yeah, she was. She couldn't be there that day when we were shooting that part of the previs, but she definitely was there.
So this scene very much reminds me of in the final of the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy. It was at World's End. Like you're talking, you have all the the pirates together. They're talking about the code. He calls the parlay. This is like complete pirate.
Right.
There's so much borrowed from that.
Oh
yeah. It's got to speak reason.
Yeah. There's a lot of there was a lot of the props and the costume pieces that were from the original series that they said, but all series, the original 3, but also the episode 1, 2, and 3. And so as they're trying it on us, they're like, yeah, this is from this movie and this is from this trilogy. I'm like, oh man, I'm holding it like I'm holding a glove. I'm like, this is so cool.
But that's in the vein of, I still call it Star Wars. To me, it's always Star Wars. It's not A New Hope. Sorry, millennials. But the fact is, if you look at the captain right here, the werewolf guy, he was like a knockoff character in Mos Eisley Cantina. Like those were all pieces that they just grabbed. Like
like a mask they could use.
Yeah.
Like the Bosk outfit was from Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a library. I mean, they made some new things, but really it was just
a lot of piecemeal cobbled together kind of.
Yeah. I was just so happy that I did not have to be one of the pirates in a rubber mask all day long. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I had one of my friends, his name's Frank Trigg. He used to be a UFC fighter.
He was one of Gamorreans.
Yeah. And I had him with another guy doing a whole fight scene in the background and they had the dog face masks on. Man, he had to do that. Those guys, I think around like 30, 40 times. And he was just pouring sweat. He's in good shape. But at the end of that, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I owe you.
That's what I was calling those characters, the dog face boys.
Yeah.
Because they had that very kind of that like jowly kind of dog look to them.
Yeah.
Who ever thought Marty Matulis had a great singing voice? That was awesome.
So Lonnie has a question right here. Lonnie is asking, I don't know if she's asking because we were talking about the original trilogy there or about Skeleton Crew in general, but you can answer for both. What was your favorite like original prop?
You know, I don't know. Oh God, there's actually one thing I can't say because it would give it away. So, but there was.
You can just message us that later, and we'll answer after the series is over.
There was one day, like when and I don't think it was an original because I don't think they could get the. I think they got the original, and it was so worn that they had to make a new original. And I'm going to leave it right there. But when I saw it, because the one department was right next to the stunt department in prep. And I looked behind a curtain. I saw it, I'm like, I made a squeal sound that I have never made since maybe I was, 5. And I was so excited to see that I had to go over there and just, I might have touched it and just been in the moment there.
Nick saw the training ball.
Yeah, I did actually. But another cool one was one of the droids from episode 1, 2, and 3. One of the battle droids that they had remade, and that you've already seen that in another episode. So that was cool, and I don't know if that was an original, but when I saw it, I think it was. But there was other pieces, like little pieces on our costumes and little I don't even know what to say, like little resistors and connectors and all these kind of things.
Greeblies.
Yeah.
Like they do on the models.
Yeah. And the props and the wardrobe department were just saying, yeah, these are from the original movies. I'm like, that is just so cool.
Nice.
So sorry, Lonnie, to not be able to give you away something else, but you'll see it you'll know it when you see it.
So it's very interesting that we're seeing, obviously, KB, she was modded. And I think that I'm actually very glad that we got to see the whole thing with Thundercat and Obi-Wan with the mod station. So it gives us a little context for, what we're going to see. Spoiler, what happens with KB.
Yeah.
Yeah, and over on Insta is Matt's going, well, now we know why KB was kind of scared of going to the spa in the previous episode. I would imagine that the electronics would not be conducive to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Unless she was going to the Bacta tank.
Well, maybe, but I mean, I think this is another level of cool inclusiveness that you've got in Star Wars here. Is a character that is modded that may have vision issues because they've got this visors. Like, we're hitting Geordie LaForge in it right there. Yeah. I had the hot fit track. Yes,
makes you wonder how much damage her head took in this accident. Because I mean, if you have that big slot in the back of your head and you have to wear a visor for whatever reason, there's got to be a lot of issues there, I would imagine. So that's got to make things more difficult.
One of the things that I love about her is that with every movie or something like that, you have one character that in your mind sticks out, and it's not usually like the main characters. And for me, Empire was Lobot. So seeing KB almost like Lobot, kind of cool.
Well, and we haven't gotten yet why Urkel is wearing that same kind of thing as well. So
he's even more Lobot looking. She's got more of a Fennec Shand kind of mod, like that's a little more, well, not subtle, but not as like noticeable in some cases.
It's it's quite interesting. You're right. You know, there's really something really cool about giving a character certain limitations like that. It just creates more depth and definitely, obviously, a richer backstory about who they are and who they become and how they are today.
Right. What made them what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it tells you're telling a good story.
Yeah.
You know, and you're adding to the Star Wars mythos while you're at it, but you don't have to just set to tell a Star Wars story to
Right.
tell a good story and add something to the galaxy.
Right. Very well
So-
done. Yeah.
Here's something this is absolutely correct. But the actor who's playing Wim is one Marvel credit away from getting the Disney trifecta, because he's the voice of Antonio in Encanto, the little boy.
Oh. Well, he's young. I'm sure he'll get it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
lots of time.
you're one away.
Introduce in the past episode, the voice of Merida is
Yeah.
one of the
She's the bounty hunter chick.
bounty
Pocket.
hunter in here, so she just needs a Marvel credit, and she's
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even realize I had the trifecta until you guys told me that last time. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we look for these things. We're on top of it.
That's cool.
We like to say here in Virtual Cantina that the Mouse House is incestuous. That it's like almost like the old school studios that you're involved in one, you're kind of like involved in like
Tied to the rest of them.
That's pretty. Yeah.
Well, another thing you'll probably appreciate as well, since you came also, doing some stuff with Spider-Man, is you have the guy who saved Christmas, kicked off the Marvel Cinematic Universe, pretty much saved Star Wars, and basically it's Gutter from PCU.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, John is very prolific these days.
Oh my god! I forgot about that movie. I love that movie.
I love that movie. I'm like,
Every time my daughter sees him show up in anything, it's like, no, it's Happy, and I'm like, that's
Yeah.
not all he is.
Yeah. Right.
no, Gutter is a tool. I mean, come on.
Butter is a tool. That's right. No.
Don't be that guy.
Oh my god, that's so good. Yeah, I was watching Friends the other day, and his episode came up, and it's the very last one he's in where he wants to be an Ultimate Fighter, and he's completely cast up. He's like, "This is my circle of terror," and he's like, "It's just so good, man." He's such a good actor.
I love him as the clown in Seinfeld. What's his name? He's like, it's like, what's your clown name? He's like, I mean, it's just like his regular name, and George was just so upset about that. I love how she just jumps up once he gets the remade part in her.
Yeah,
She's good to go.
Well, and this I thought was a good like bait and switch here. I did not see the trash crab. I did not see this coming as the trash
Here's
crab.
Tamatilla.
I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying too as well. But that's
So shiny.
Oh, you kidding? When they were saying follow home, I kept on thinking, go to Candy Mountain, Charlie. Candy Mountain.
another dated thing. Wow, yeah, I love that.
That was a great one.
God, it was so good.
That's a lot of stop motion work there.
Yeah. But there's just something about it too. I had that appreciation for a filmmaker that wants to put these elements in. The prosthetics, the rubber masks, like the stop motion. It's just, it's beautiful. Not making it all CG is great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You have to give it up to everybody over at Legacy Effects. Our good friends like Tamara Carlson Woodard, who is going to join us next week, and Don Deininger, who are involved in all these projects. We're very excited to have Tamara next week on our show. It's
And
just
Don the following week.
Yep, we got some great, reality, and it's just awesome. It's not all just prosthetics or video or anything of that nature. It's full like embodying. We were talking with Artishare a couple of weeks ago about how he played the Hammerhead in that one scene, and how much he loved putting that on.
I love how this scene had like the sort of imminent danger of this giant crab, but it was so slow that they just sort of hung around and waited for their ship to come and pick them up. And then we're like, okay, see ya. And then we're
Yeah,
good.
they're sitting there kicking the little one,
Yeah,
but ignoring the giant one behind her. It's like, wait, no.
What if it had the ability to just do one like large claw thing? They would have been out.
You want to hear him say, "Hey, did you like the song?" No.
Yeah, there you go. Get him to sing it again.
Everybody from everything was over the holidays. We went to see Moana 2 in theaters, and I'm sitting there pointing out, as people are on screen, it's like, oh, he's going to be at Celebration. Oh, he's going to be at Celebration. And they're like, this is Moana, but they are.
Yes, but if you look at who Moana's father is, it's Tamora Morrison. So
that's what I was pointing out. It's going to be at Celebration.
Django, Boba.
Yeah.
All the clones. Got so many roles.
Oh, here we go. Lonnie's got another question. Nick, which of the 4 young characters would little you have resonated with? I like this question.
Good question. Honestly, I have to say, even for kids, it was like they were miniature adults. And as a kid, I always hung out with the adults. I had kid friends, but I mostly hung out with adults, and that's where I kind of wanted to be. And they were all very professional. They were very cool. They had their moments when they just wanted to kind of play around on set, but I mean, who doesn't? We're all kids anyways. I couldn't really pick one. I'd say pretty much all of them. They were pretty awesome to work with. They were just a delight. And every time I came back and I would show up, they'd walk over, they're like, Nick, and they come over and give me a big hug. And I knew a lot of the parents too. They were just, they were a joy to work with.
That's fun.
You were totally Wim that turned the lightsaber on upside down and almost like burnt your foot off. Right?
I was just so hoping. I mean, yes, that was a fun comedic moment, but I wanted him to just be badass with the lightsaber there. I wanted that for him.
I think we played with an idea of that as well too. But then
you shot that would if you shot that as well, or at least thought about it, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know if we shot it, but I think we played with it in the concepts. But like the fact is, I do love that he hits it and it just bounces out of his hands. Like you want that hero moment, but then I understand it as well too. Yeah.
But you had to give us the Toy Story 3 ending, really?
Lotso.
I was like, no, I was like, when I see the flames and all that, I'm thinking, I was like, okay, you got Woody and Buzz holding hands right now, about to go into the trash compactor. I'm like, no, they're not doing that right now.
I'm like, this gun is not helping. It's too invincible.
I'm feeling horrible for John Goodson the entire time. It's like, another one of your ships
destroying your ship.
What are they doing to you?
I mean, he was already upset about the Razor Crest.
I know.
Well, this one maybe gets a respite because of the ultimate reveal here. But I'm like, okay, how are they going to fly this thing? They just breached the hull in 5 places.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is got to be one of those things that I also, once we see the reveal that's coming up here in a second, I'm like, well, damn it, John, you didn't tell us it did that.
Right. I was thinking that this would have been a great episode for John to be on to talk about that specifically. But
I personally thought myself, I forgot about
him on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I thought it was just going to do the typical detach and then break away with a smaller part of the ship.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then when you see it, you're like, it catches you by surprise for a second, like, what is happening? Oh.
Yeah, the whole shedding of the outer hull kind of thing just seems very different than what we're used to.
Nice and sleek. So, like, the whole rust bucket piece of junk was just a disguise.
Yeah.
Yep. They had, to make that finer piece of machinery sort of blend in, they created this exterior.
You know, the first time I didn't see Wim do the duck, because I actually thought that he actually went in with the
gets
gel.
Swept off with the rest of the outer hull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It kind of looks like a roided out X-wing right there or something for a second.
It's got a little bit of Darth Maul's ship on that front end.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
The kind of a little kind of Rebels.
yeah.
And then right back to the kids. Claims he's on the new ship.
Liberty says on Instagram the ship looks kind of Nubian.
Yeah.
And there
Well,
it
and
is.
then Lonnie's
Amazing,
like,
amazing.
I'm hoping the Lego Onyx Cinder does that.
Oh yeah, that would be
That'd be
insane.
cool.
Have it
The HasLab version will
be
have
able to
that.
pull. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't try to like run a HasLab and have it end right before they shredded the exterior of the ship.
Too
Just
soon.
in their classic wait till the ship gets destroyed to have the
You already
thing
got
filmed or right before.
$500 and the ship is destroyed. There you go.
Yes.
But what a fun episode! I mean, like I said, it's fun. There's like the whole KB storyline that KB almost dies. Like it's like it's like tearing your heart out at the same time. Like you got all the feels in the middle of like a Star Wars. Like it's just.
I was getting the feel that maybe she should have been a little bit less mobile while she was going through that whole process and having to do more directing with just words as opposed to being like, here's my torch and handing him stuff. I felt that she should have been a little bit more like sort of paralyzed or whatever.
Would you mean like she was asking for the oil can, like she was the Tin Man?
Oil can, talking outside of her mouth. But it gives you that kind of feel. And it's a way to build. I think it was a good episode to build up other dynamics between the kid characters, not just the pairs that we've seen from the beginning, but sort of breaking it up into more of a group and having them all have their moments with each other.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that besides, I love seeing John Knoll being very much involved in the visual effects on this one. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, any of the old school names that pop up in the credits are always a pleasure to see.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned.
Tippett, you see Matt Wood. It's funny. The other day, I was taking a ride with my wife, and I had to play for her the Matt Wood, David Collins version of Major Tom Coming Home in Huttese, and she was all excited, and she's like, "This is something Star Wars, isn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry," but I love the fact that we're all kids of the '80s, like geeking out all on this stuff right now. It's like we always do, but it's like all the movies that we watch, and it's all a nod to everything that we love, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
But looking over here, looking at like all the stunt doubles and some great stunt performers involved in this. And see Irish Shear's name there.
Yeah, it was a good group.
Now, I know you had mentioned before, sometimes it's all like who you know or what you're good at. But do you find that on a lot of these projects you're running into the same people often?
Yeah, this particular crew, for the most part of it, George Cottle, Colin Fallwider, I never say his name right. A lot of the stunt rigging crew, we had been together from going back from, except for Colin. Colin came in a little bit later, but we started on Tenet with Christopher Nolan. And we did all of 2019. And then we went right to Red Notice for Netflix JC. Oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. The Rock. And then we did that through COVID. We shut down. We came back. We're in one of those weird but cool kind of isolation bubbles to finish that film. And then we all went right from that to Spider-Man. So we really went from back to back to back. And then there was a little break there. I went off and kind of did my own thing as that crew was off on Haunted Mansion, I believe it was. And then we all came back together for Skeleton Crew. We still work. We still see each other. There's a lot of people that you see. Sometimes you don't see people for 10 years, but the really cool thing about this industry as well, specifically in stunts, is that when you don't get to see somebody for a while, it's like no time has passed when you run into them again. You just pick it right up where you left off. And because what we do, we travel the world together. Your crew becomes your family for an extended period of time since you're away from your actual family. And so we also really have to trust each other, because what we do, sometimes we do risk life or limb on certain projects. So you really become very close with these people, and time, can't dissolve that. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice.
Well, I'm also glad to see, like, you have some old school Star Wars stuntmen. I actually went to see a showing of Return of the Jedi last night, and I remember seeing episode 1. You had the OG himself, Mr. Dickie Beer, doing stunts on there,
right.
and then his daughter Amy, who I met at our event, she came with Dimitri. But it was nice to see Dickie still mixing it up, and getting out.
Yeah. Sometimes they come out of retirement, or they just still love to come on set and just be a part of the mix. And it's pretty cool. And especially when you get some of the OGs, because you get some of the craziest stories that are just amazing sometimes. So that, some from your famous, from certain eras and different movies. I was working with, I can't remember who this was, but we were holding up set in the shot because he was telling us a story from one of the old classic Bond films, the one with Jaws.
Moonraker.
Yeah, thank you, Moonraker. And he's going into this elaborate story. I'm just thinking like, we need you on set. I'm like, yeah, I gotta. Oh my gosh,
I gotta listen to the rest of this first.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Next time
you get a lot of you and your fancy Home Depot boxes. In the old days, they threw us on the barbed wire. It's like,
and they were thankful.
Yeah.
Next time you see Dickie, talk to him about his experience with Sarlacc pit. He loves talking about that Sarlacc pit.
Okay.
The original Sarlacc.
The original one.
Oh man, that's I can't wait. I hope I run into him again soon. You just never know in this industry. Like, we're all over the place. So
no, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, one of the things we also wanted to talk about tonight, and we're going to be pushing quite a bit on the Virtual Cantina Network, is your company. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your company that you're doing on the side?
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a younger company. It's called Saberation. People think it's like Saber Nation. It's just a combination. We wanted a little play on words. I just always wished that if the Jedi Temple really existed, what would it be like? What would that training incorporate? What would you get to learn? I've been a martial artist since I was 5. Traditionally, I've done 9 different styles and studied within them, whether I studied only for maybe 6 months to a year, or I did for 12 years. I've dabbled quite a bit, and I was like, I can bring something to this. And I partnered up with my friend, Edward, and we figured, let's really try to make something real. And at first it was just because we wanted to be, a little bit nerdy and cool. We just wanted to fight with lightsabers. But out of it came structure and self-discipline, and we turned it into an actual martial art. And then we realized that it was really reaching people that normally don't feel comfortable coming to a martial arts studio, that feel shy and that, would never join a gym. So this is became a safe place for people to kind of just meet up and connect and get away from their computers and, go outside and explore and meet and greet people. And it's become a pretty cool little thing. I know there's other lightsaber companies out there and groups that they do fight and they do battle, but this is not a company that we just put on body armor and just kind of wail away. Some people do that. Some people do have structure, but we've based everything in real based martial arts, and we have 7 different styles like you do in the Jedi Temple. And everything from I based the first one and the whole idea off of what I used to teach, which is Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's art or philosophy. So that is kind of some of a main core of the mindset going into this, and moving with a saber and moving with, we call it light swords because we don't have certain rights. But
you can't say that.
yeah, so it's broken up. It's like saber, yeah, like two different words. When we used to say it, and we don't say that anymore. But it's really about bringing people together, and it's fun, and it's teaching people handy skills. It's giving them, you know, not just a means to defend yourself, but really to kind of play and find physical fitness. So it started off as a game, turned into a bit of a martial art. We became an actual martial art where we got certified with the Jiu-Jitsu Foundation. And then I created a workout model with it as well too. It started kind of like a little kind of Taibo choreo, a lot of stuff that I teach actors how to do. And I said, you know, this is just calisthenics and I can make this a lot more fun. And we have people that have lost up to like 130 pounds. People are feeling better about themselves. You know, they're gaining confidence back, and we're trying to break it out where we're now making more games out of it and expanding. And it's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding and I'm very happy with it. And our new part is we do sell our own sabers. We have a build a saber model where you can literally buy all the pieces. You can make it look, you can customize it in any single way you want. And I'm working actually making a new kind of saber that's never been done in a couple certain ways that no one's even tried yet. And it's all in beta. I haven't, I don't have a prototype yet. I have a kind of prototype, but it's not even, I'll just.
Here we go. You saw it here first.
It's like I have so many different pieces. I literally just printed out this yesterday, and this is just starting off. But there's a lot of different things that within technology hasn't been incorporated with this yet, and not just electronic boards and today's technology, but also physical technology that nobody really thinks of because most people buy this for an aesthetic purpose, or they like to battle, but they don't think of it in terms of what a stuntman or stunt performer would, because we have to think of versatility. And there's something when I play the video games, when I watch the movies, when I read the comic books, I'm like, that's great. That hasn't been brought to it, but also thinking outside the box. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be coming down the way. And I guess the other thing is that even though my main school is based in Virginia, I'm going to be opening one in Los Angeles and in California soon. And there's a couple other small ones because you can buy the licensing. You can kind of like turnkey shop where you can open your own school. We want to make.
I saw that. That's on the second page of your website where you can like become an affiliate with you eventually.
Absolutely. You can start teaching, and we have competitions, and we're trying to make it national. Actually, we have a school that just moved to Japan about a year ago, or opened up in Japan, and we've actually not absorbed in a way, but we've integrated 2 other groups that loved what we were doing, and so they just came and started being a part of our process. So it's exciting. It's COVID was a big hit for us. But the cool thing that we learned is that because you had to be 6 feet from people, we already wear face shields anyways. The lightsaber staff, the blade with the hilt was 6 feet and more. So we were one of the few things that people realized, we could still continue to do this. So, we're bouncing back still a little bit from that 2020 hit, but it's coming back strong, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
Well, cool. Let's take a look at your video. I watched this a little bit earlier when you sent it out, and I'm very intrigued. It's like, damn, I'd go to the gym if the gym had lightsabers.
Thank you. And there's several different styles in there, including parkour. We have some tricking because, again, it's what Jedis do, and we teach even people that are of an elevated age that think they can't do certain things, and certain things might be out of your grasp, but there are certain things you could still do in a very safe environment and learn baby steps. Go ahead. I also had some of my friends jump in. Lauren Mary Kim is in this because she helped me out for a day, and this is before she had ever played or started doing Ahsoka for the cartoons.
Excellent. We're going to talk about that. That should be a note that we're going to talk about that. So, Dave, let's show.
Let's roll the video clip. That's
Wow.
just cool.
Thanks, guys. So if
Looks
you
like-
want to join up, let us know. We also teach online as well, too.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is some of those things in front of the blue wall with the dummy looked like online instructional videos? Do you have the?
Yeah. So there's pre-recorded. We also do live sessions every week. And that's for groups, but that's also, we have a separate one for if you buy a franchise, if you buy part of it and you try to open up your own school, you do open your own school. We have one-on-one coaching as well for that as well too. So there's many different levels. There's also the athletic part. If you just kind of want to have some of the movements and you don't want to get too serious into it, just want to have some fun swinging a lightsaber in the exact way that I teach a lot of actors and stunt people how to do this on set. You can learn that as well.
That's cool. So you have a current gym and you're opening one in LA. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we have one in Virginia. And there is, I forgot some of the other states that have opened up in the last couple of years. I think Tennessee was one. I know we have Hawaii. I know we have Japan. There's a couple other places, but I'm really hoping to open up in California soon. And it just depends on, having the time to do so. And I need to kind of dive my focus into that.
What part of Virginia? I'm in northern North Carolina.
Oh, nice. Virginia Beach.
Oh, excellent. Not very far.
Yeah, when LA opens up, I'll definitely want to check it out and see what is going on with that. So keep us in the loop.
Yeah, I actually might open up a smaller group without having a total facility. I have a stunt gym at my house that I train actors and I train stunt people, and it is quite elaborate. It's a lot of room. The sabers make it a little harder because you need a little bit more space and also ceiling height. But I can still do it, and I think in the true old school fashion of Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune Do, how it started, which was teaching in his own backyard to people and celebrities. It's kind of what I do here. So I think I'm just going to start it off that way and gain whoever wants to come. There's no limitations. It doesn't matter if you had absolutely no training in anything at all, or if you're even the seasoned martial artist. And then we'll build from there, because I don't want to hold off. I just kind of want to start doing it.
Get your students to build you a nice little wooden deck and a koi pond and
wax your high-end vehicles.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. So you brought it up, and I made actually a couple of notes while we were waiting for that. And we talked about, our good friend, all of ours friend, Laurie Mary Kim. That mocap that her and Ray did for Rebels, for Maul and Ahsoka, was next level, especially utilizing mocap for animation, which was very much video game-esque. As a Star Wars fan, when you saw that, what was your thoughts?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. I was plus I know both of them as well too, so it's just watching friends. Yeah, I got to double Ray one time. That's another story, but it's well, it was funny. They're like, "Can you come double Ray Park?" I'm like, "Ray, wait, you mean Darth Maul?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "He needs a double." He's like, "No, he's in two places at once," and it was for the Mortal Kombat online series. And they're like, "He can't be in two places at once. Can you come do his sword fight?" And so we traded off. He did some, I did some, but that was just cool. So it's to see two friends work in that capacity and also come up with what they did. Obviously I had a choreographer as well too, but you put a lot of yourself in the choreography because it's what my limitations. What can I do? Yeah, I truly loved it. It was just, I know, big smiles on my faces every single time I think about it.
So did you watch a lot of the other cartoons besides, that episode of Rebels in particular?
I came late to it, but then I started catching up. So I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen quite a bit, and I've seen everything. Not everything. I saw the second part of it leading up to the Ahsoka show, and I saw the first half of the original series. But there's like a middle part in there that I still need to watch that I haven't got.
Did you actually see when Maul finally faces Obi-Wan for the last time?
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that. You see Obi-Wan, he goes from his old school stance into the Qui-Gon stance to dispatch Maul. As a swordsman yourself, do you think that was good psychology? You know,
I liked it because it kind of played back to it. But as a fan, watching it, I'm like, oh, you want to do that? Because that's kind of what, didn't work the first time for Qui-Gon. So, it was just, an interesting note as I look at it. I'm like, every time I watch something, I don't try to dissect it. I just try to enjoy it and just be a true fan. It doesn't matter what it is. And especially with Star Wars, I just want to be enamored, thrilled by it. So the first time I watched it, I don't even think I caught it. And then I went back just to kind of look and digress. And it was maybe the third time, maybe fourth time that I saw it, that I caught it because I didn't see it at first. So
do you think
that whole scene, that whole fight is like what, a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
So
it's but I just loved it, especially with the age, the fact that they've caught up together, and obviously half his body severed too. So you're like, well, he's not going to be able to perform the exact same way he used to. So.
True.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that is also there's been obviously a lot of conversations that Dave Filoni's talked about that in that moment, Maul realizes that Obi-Wan's not the same since the last time he saw him. That doing the same moves are just not going to fly. And the whole psychology about Ben being the sewer rat that he calls them in that scenario. One of my favorite stories when I met Sam Witwer was talking about it was very much a callback to Phantom Menace when Obi-Wan's holding Qui-Gon, how he's holding Maul, and Maul's like, he'll avenge us. That the real savior of the Force is Luke. Who's a couple of miles away at the Lars homestead.
Yeah.
But just how that the whole tie-in, it's pretty incredible.
Spoilers.
Yes.
It's been a couple of years, but I think it's always nice when filmmakers, and that's something I do love about Dave Filoni as well too, because he wants to keep it true to the timeline and everything that's happened before. And I just like seeing anytime a filmmaker, I keep saying, even for TV, I keep saying filmmaker, but anytime an artist always recaps, and not recaps, but brings it back and has a similar motion or scene that we realize, from before, that connects us to that timeline again. I mean, one, it always hits you in the feels, but two, you've done well. But it's nice because it's like those little Easter eggs where you're like, I appreciate what you're doing there.
We were noticing that a lot in like Book of Boba Fett, where they use the old school bowling game as the touchpad for the mayor's Major Domo.
Yeah.
And using, what was it, in Andor, they used a old Polaroid pop-up camera. Instant camera as like their like navigation tool.
Yeah.
So using things of the time like they would have back then.
Yeah.
Really kind of helps seal things as well when it comes to props and adding that little extra to the scene.
Yeah. I even appreciate the fact that, like, you look at the hairstyles, where the clothing as well too, where certain things where they're really trying to bring it back to, say, like, the mid to late 70s.
I think they did a really good job in Rogue One with sort of matching the 77 aesthetic for the characters, because all that stuff sort of intertwined with the the first movie. So
I mean, because
you're saying?
Well, the first thing, every time I see that, I'm like, that seems a little. Oh, right. No, that's all right. No, that's true. That's how it should be, because that's how when it first came out. But it doesn't pull me out of it. It's just that quick little, oh, cool. That's all right. And you get that appreciation for it even more so, because those are the people that are really paying attention to the details, and that you can tell the love's there. They really care about what they're doing. It's not just I'm showing up to work and, well, why are we going to do that kind of style? That's dated. Let's not do that.
I think Skeleton Crew does a really nice job at that too. Like the kids' houses, are kind of like a retro future-y kind of feel. It's a very like this. The architect of this was Mike Brady or something, but
I was just thinking that.
Very, very, very much so.
Yeah. It's
Did
very well put.
Did you see that fruit contraption to come down like in Back to the Future 2 in the middle of the kitchen?
Right.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Now, when you were on set, were Dave and John around often, or they just do pop-ins or anything?
John, not as much. I mean, he was definitely there quite a bit, and I did see him a couple times, several times. What am I talking about? He was definitely there. Sorry, not John. John was there because he's the showrunner, so he oversees it. So every episode has to match his vision and what he's created. So he was definitely there. But you also had the guest directors that were there as well too, coming and going. And some days, sometimes in the weeks, and this happens on TV a lot too, due to actors' schedules or say the sets that have to be done or the directors. Sometimes one day you're shooting episode 2, the next day you're shooting like episode 7. Or there's some days that even you shoot at the same time, because if you have that set up and you have to revisit it, they're not going to tear it down, build something else and then rebuild that one later. You're just going to shoot everything while you have it sometimes. So you'll be shooting half the day at episode 2 and then the other half of the day at episode 7. It's just trying to keep track of what's going on. So it's a giant dance. There's a lot of things going on, even on the days that kind of feel slow. So yeah, they were in my head as I remember it. It's just a giant eclectic mix of everybody that was there. But yeah, I definitely remember seeing John there quite a bit, both Johns, and Dave as well too. Yeah.
So we have a really good story about this. So Dave actually cosplays as Dave Filoni.
FAUX.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And right before San Diego Comic-Con, someone
just
on
enough
Facebook.
there.
So someone on Facebook actually took a picture and posted on a fan page. They said, "We're pretty sure that at San Diego Airport, Dave Filoni's standing there," and
Waiting
they took
to
a
catch a
picture of
flight.
him. Wearing a hat like that, and so Dave looks at it, he's like, "Oh my god, I was just at the airport. Wait a minute, that's my daughter." Said someone actually thought that he was Dave at the San Diego Airport.
He was convincing enough in that getup.
Yeah, I can see
with
it
the facial hair.
Yeah.
And that it was, it was Comic-Con weekend, so there was a lot of variables involved to make somebody kind of make that assumption.
Right. Yeah.
But it was blasted all over the internet.
That's good.
Well, like I said, I would take zero credit for that or anything. It because I'm sitting there going like, no, it doesn't really. But it was good enough that it fooled me
for a split second.
Good.
I bought into that, so I was like, wait for a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, it might have been longer if Memes hadn't been standing next to you.
Well, yeah, if Memes hadn't been standing next to me, that would have taken a little bit. But we got a couple of other questions here. I think cool in the chat is Lonnie's says that stuntmen come off as like super fearless to her. Is there something that you're afraid of, or that you're afraid of attempting?
Honestly, I have a bucket list of stuff I want to do, and it all sounds crazy to most people. So not really, but I will say, I mean, most of us, we're probably a little wired differently. That's for sure. Because we definitely get a kick out of some things that just absolutely scare people. But I will say this, even if I'm too comfortable with the stunt, doing a death-defying one, and there's been ones where I've almost died. I've almost, bit the big one a couple times. Those are the moments that I'm fully alive, and I'm just right there like, ooh, I can't wait to do. There's a small part of me that is afraid, and if there's not, I will put the fear in me, because if I'm too comfortable, that's when things can go wrong, because you get too cocky. Some bit of cockiness or too much ego, a good amount of ego is good, because that gives you the confidence and see the end point about what needs to be completed safely and correctly. But there's been times where I'm up on a high building or I'm about to do a gnarly water stunt or a car hit or something, and I'm just like, oh, I'm too comfortable, and I got to put a little fear in me because that will keep me a little extra sharp. So any particular thing? No. I'm now towards the end of my performing career. I've been more behind the camera, more on the creative side, shooting, editing, choreographing, or putting together big sequences, and kind of more the boss role. But if there's a stunt that I haven't done, like hanging on the landing part of a helicopter, taking off, or fighting on top of a train, which I almost got to do in a movie, and I was so bummed I picked somebody else. But you tell me, so on my bucket list, I'm going to say yes. So,
has there been anything that you've had to choreograph that you haven't felt comfortable giving someone else that you had to do yourself?
That is a very good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. No. If I know they can't do it, I will change it. I will change it to their strengths because I want to set people up for success. Not because I think this is a great part and this needs to go here. Sometimes that does happen. I try to work as a team as everybody else, and I try to make it as a positive and fun working environment as I can. But I would never ever give a stunt to someone else that I would personally do myself.
So here's a question for me. Have you worked with Lateef Crowder?
With a what?
Lateef.
Lateef? Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. He and I go way back before stunts. We both come from the same Capoeira school, actually.
Okay.
So we've known each other for quite a while. In fact, the first time in Capoeira, you have what's called the hora, which is the circle. And the first time I've ever been truly hit and had the wind kind of knocked out of me without it being a punch was from Lateef. And it was the day that I got my name and my godao, which is your belt. And it's a big ceremony. You have to play a whole bunch of people, including a bunch of masters. And some reason I got to play him as well too. And he shoulder checked me and he launched me right out of the circle. I mean, just knocked me off my feet. And I was a bit skinnier back then, but still that man hits like a train and he is fast. He is super talented, doesn't get nearly enough credit for what he can do and who he is. And when I found out he was the Mandalorian for the most part of it, moving around, I was so happy for him. Still, the stuff this man can do is amazing compared to what he gets to do on the show. But yeah, he's a good dude, good-hearted person. I love that guy.
Would you say he's your favorite vampire too?
My favorite vampire? Do I not know this one? I don't.
He in Face. If you watch the Breaking Dawn Part 2 of Twilight, he plays one of the vampires in the final scene, and you clearly see it's Lateef.
Is that right?
So Lateef sparkles. He sparkles.
Yeah.
Both in and out of the Mando costume.
They all, yeah. That's I didn't know. You know what? Was he there? Because I did mocap for that end battle, and I choreographed one or two pieces for. Who was choreographing the? Oh,
so you're sparkly too.
Well, I was never on set. It was kind of.
He was a wolf. He was a wolf. Don't worry about it.
We were working for Aaron Toney back in the day, who used to be the Falcon double in the Avengers and still is sometimes. But yeah, I guess I haven't seen it for a while, so I didn't realize Lateef was in that, but I'm not surprised. I would say, yeah, he's probably my favorite vampire. Why not?
I always ask that for anybody who knows Lateef because that's always a funny story.
Not everybody else has been in it as well. So
yeah, Lateef is great, and both him, obviously, him and Brendan, to me, are the Mandalorian. Like,
oh yeah, by far, absolutely, yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, B is all sorts of fun. Any more questions in the chat, Dave?
Just one from mine is other than the finale of Skeleton Crew, any other projects you've got coming up that we should look out for? That you can tell us about yet?
That I've done or that I might be going to, or is it both?
Well, Well, that you're working on, gonna be working on, that sort of thing.
There is something I'm doing right. I don't know if I can say that. I said it off camera. I don't know if I can say it on
Yeah.
camera. This is a meeting I'm going to tomorrow. It's a very, I will say this. There's something I'm coordinating currently right now that is a national major national is what I was trying to say. My dyslexic brain just meshes it up. Major national live televised event that everyone in the USA, actually around the world, knows about. And I'm coordinating that currently right now. And that will be towards the end of January, early February. And if you can guess it, good for you. I'm not going to say what it is. Anyways.
Yeah.
And that's all I say. Yeah. And but I just came off of the Amazon show at the end of last year called The Terminalist. It was the original flagship show is with Chris Pratt about Navy SEALs, which is out now. This is the spinoff starring Taylor Kitsch's character, which dives more into his leaving that group and going into the CIA and espionage. And I was working on that in Budapest for several months with that team, which amazing people, amazing team, and amazing storyline. And it looks good. And I helped create a lot of the action sequences on that. And I always love stuff like that because that's always real stuff. Like anytime you do a spy film or anything along those lines, you don't use very much stage work, CGI, or anything. You use it's a lot of real car stuff, fight stuff, blowing stuff up. It's good stuff.
You talking about a movie that you were talking about in the pre-show that you were kind of had to come off of Skeleton Crew for?
Yeah. So the reason I couldn't fully be there, one, they didn't have a whole lot of action for me to be there, so I understand. And my character, the pirate character, wasn't in every single episode, but I did come back quite a bit for it. I went to a movie called Dark Waters, which was filming down in the Dominican Republic at the time. I had to replace somebody that had to leave, the stunt coordinator. So I went down there to finish that film, and I got that through this stunt coordinator who was doing Skeleton Crew, and he was friends with that producer. If you can follow the complex web, I'm leaving here. I'm getting confused. But I went down there, and it was starring Ray Liotta along with a lot of other people. And 3 weeks into me being there and 3 days into Ray Liotta being there, that's the film that was his very last film. He ended up passing away in his sleep. And I wanted to come home initially to finish off a lot of scenes in Skeleton Crew, but I chose to stay down there to help those filmmakers, which are now close friends of mine as well, in Ray's memory and his honor. We wanted to do his family justice. We wanted to do Ray justice and make sure he stayed in the film. So we had to reconfigure the film and come up with a new ending about how to really make it work and again, do him justice. So I was bouncing back and forth between that and Skeleton Crew. And what a guy. He was really nice, intense, and intense in a good way. When I was seeing his scene just there watching it, I didn't have to be there, but I just wanted to see him work and just blown away. He was a good guy.
Well, he was the guy that, always taught us to stir the sauce. So, you got to make sure that, you got to
yeah. Right.
Every time I see a helicopter, I'm always thinking like I'm Henry Hill,
Yeah, right. The tomato sauce. Do not forget the tomato sauce.
Yep. Well, first of all, again, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. And if any of our members or anything want to see any of your footage or to connect with you on social media, how would someone be able to do that?
Feel free to contact me on Instagram is what I'm on mostly. I have been coming back to Facebook and checking a little bit more, especially with my company, trying to be a little bit more proactive about it. Leave a comment there or send me a message. I don't always check it right away, but I do always come back to it. And especially if I'm traveling around the world, I'm busy, or if I'm running one show or possibly two, I will eventually get to it. I promise that. And I try to answer just about everybody. I mean, the people that are scammers or that are rude, I just tend to ignore. But if you're a nice person and you just want to say hi, I'm always happy to say hi. And periodically, a lot of things we can't show because we don't want to give away spoilers or anything else like that. But eventually, a lot of things can be shown. So keep a lookout. I do post. I'm not very good at posting. My online presence is, I'm not very good at promoting myself, but I'm trying to get out there a little bit more, trying to show a little bit more, and bring the joy and the love of filmmaking and what we do, and kind of show people what stunts are really about, because it's still kind of shrouded in mystery for most people. And that's why I'm glad that the movie Fall Guy came out earlier last year. I really enjoyed it. And that's my old mentor. My very first mentor was Dave Leach, with that group. And they always said I looked like the younger Dave Leach, mini Dave Leach, not younger. So I thought that was great. And Ryan's main double, he had 4 of them. They're all my friends, but the main double, Ben Jenkins, is really one of my closest friends. He was even one of my groomsmen in my wedding. And that film really showed a lot of things. It was a love letter to stunts. And some people gave it flack, where it's not real. I'm like, well, the espionage and the murder wasn't real. I mean, not that we know of, but everything else, that's at the heart of what it's like being a stuntman. Just the thumbs up, the yeah, sure, I'm okay, the not sleeping, not being able to get coffee half the time, and just kind of go. And it was fun. And I mean, even the jokes, like a lot of it was meant for the industry, but I'm glad that he made it for a mainstream audience, and it did show a lot of what we have to deal with. So
yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of that movie when the trailers and things, or the fact that they were making it started popping up, because like what Dave just showed off to the camera was the original truck from the TV show starring Lee Majors. Yeah, and that was what I was all about back in the 80s. And I'm like, what are they going to do? And calling this movie Fall Guy or whatever. And then I ended up really liking what they did with it. And it just has enough of a tinge of a similar kind of idea as Fall Guy, the TV show. Yeah. To use, you can use the name, and it fits perfectly. And what they ultimately go and show all the behind the scenes stuff and all that stuff is really cool, I felt. Yeah. So it was a great way to kind of showcase the work that's behind that stuff.
Yeah. And it was just, it was just for fun. It was just to make a good, kind of like another Hooper, really. And it was just to show some fun. And most people probably don't even know what Hooper is, with Burt Reynolds. Go watch it. It's another love letter to stunts, kind of based on real people as well too, in the stunt world back in the 70s.
Right. Did you see or happen to be on the red carpet for Fall Guy?
No, I was right around the corner at the Magic Castle, actually. But no, I wasn't there. So.
Did you ever see any video of there was video of some amazing stuff that they did live on the red carpet, involving set pieces and multiple stuntmen working together doing crazy fights all up and down the red carpet. Supposedly, there was some kind of action inside the Chinese theater for that as well. That's part of that like pre-show thing. I haven't seen that, but I've seen some really cool stuff that was them doing things like, going through windows and breaking off letters of the word Fall Guy and hitting each other with it, and a lot of fight.
Those were all my friends. I was watching every bit of it because I was excited for all of them. And it was in the stunt world, it's a little bit of the FOMO, like, oh, that's so cool, because nobody ever does that. I
was just amazed at how they went so deep into the stunt stuff just on the red carpet.
Yeah,
for the premiere of it, I was like, that's hardcore.
I love when they showed the car was drifting up to the red carpet as Ben's sitting on the back or the front of it, and he just hops off and kind of walks up with the suit. And then you had Justin, his fight double, fighting with the breaking off the letters with my buddy, with all my friends, but with Remy and with AV. And Remy lives directly across the street. I can look out my window and see his house right there. And AV, I'm seeing tomorrow because he's my assistant coordinator on this live production. And it's just, it was cool just to see everything they were doing, and then to see Ben do a front flip from the balcony onto the stage inside the Man's Chinese Theater. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see them all do their stuff. So
wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And then there was a high fall too, because that's oh my God, how am I forgetting? Is it Bob Brown's Troy Brown? His father is the high fall king of the world. Like, he holds several world records. He's done some of the craziest things you could ever think of in the world of high falls. That is kind of a dead art in what we do. And they did real high falls in that movie, which again is like, nobody does it anymore. We all do wire work. So I'm very happy that they really kept it real on a lot of things. And Troy, his son, has come up to take his mantle, and man, is he killing it. It's just, they're all doing such a great job. So
Right. Well, it's it needs more attention, I think. So that helps kind of draw people's eyes to things like that. And
yeah,
so you guys deserve your own section of the awards for yourself.
One day, maybe. I mean, they never have ever let us in the Academy Awards, and it's a mystery why. There's a bunch of rumors, and I don't know what's true and what's not. But after Fall Guy, I think Dave might have been able to chip away, and maybe
hopefully
we might finally have a category. I mean, we're the only people that is cast and crew, and we're there the whole time, but we don't really get any credit. So
yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
but we'll hope for that. But once again, Nick, thank you so much for joining us this evening and joining us again on the show. Definitely would love to have you on again. Anytime that you're available to come geek out with us.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure, and thank you for having me back for a second time. This is a lot of fun. I think I was nervous the first time. I've never really done one of these, but yeah, you guys have a very inviting environment, and this is really cool and a lot of fun to do. Thank you.
Excellent. So, Jeff, why don't you talk a little bit about what's going on next week?
Next week, I don't have a schedule handy.
Oh,
you mean in here? All right, yeah, we're gonna have Tamara Carlson Woodard in for the next watch along a week from today. She is an amazing creature performer, puppeteer, Legacy. Does some incredible work, and she's a big part of that team. She was at the screening of the first 2 episodes of the El Capitan, so I got to talk to her a little bit then. So it'll be nice to, go in more in depth on what things she's worked on the show, and what she thought about the process, like you, Nick. So it'll be very fun to have her in again, and talk to her about the show. Or has she been on before?
No, she's not been on the show.
This is their first time. That's right.
First time on the show, but for those who don't know, she's part Team Grogu. Yes. She is Max Rebo, and she is the creator of Merle the Loft Cat in Ahsoka. Yes.
So she was at our event at Scum and Villainy Cantina, so that's where I was getting mixed up.
That's cool. By the way, next time you're down there, let me know, because I'm right down the street. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I go there every once in a while. I was thinking about hitting New Year's Eve there, but ended up doing other things. So went to Knott's Berry Farm.
That's pretty cool.
It was interesting. It was very packed. They did some great fireworks. It was fun. But next time I'm over getting to Scum, I'll let you know for sure. Yeah, it's a good spot to hang out.
Yeah, I love it.
And then on Saturday, I'm tagging off now. I'm signing off of the news desk. We got the A-Team coming back this coming Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Mark Von Olen is back with Gary from Blob of the Hut over in Ireland, taking over the news desk and getting us ready for Star Wars Celebration Japan, which is, like we said, just under 110 days away, which is absolutely ridiculous. Hope you're playing for Japan. I went and bought my yen today, so I'm very excited about that. The exchange rate is fantastic, at least from the United States. So, be looking at that. But Dave, what else is going on in networking next week?
All sorts of things, not just next week, coming up like tonight at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. We've got another episode of the Skeleton Crew After Show that's going to drop. Bryce, John, and Mike will be talking all about the deep dives and stuff that happened in this episode we just watched. And then Mike, John, and Bryce will be back this weekend, Sunday, with the Jedi Archives, talking about more of the Star Wars The High Republic comic book series. And then, of course, Monday, Clone Wars Revisited. Nick, if you're interested and you watch the animation in the Clone Wars, that's another place you come talk, geek out, and watch those guys. That's with Mark Von Olin, Ashley, and Skip. And they are, I think, going to be on episode 14.
Sounds about right.
Yes.
Something, yeah, in that neighborhood.
Excellent.
I mean, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I would love to.
All good
Yeah,
stuff.
They have a great
forget-
show. So
Great show. But also, don't forget, on Tuesday nights, we have our happy hour where we talk about all sorts of shenanigans going on Zoom, talk about anything in pop culture, and also, have our deep dive of Skeleton Crew after the episode airs.
we jump right back into the meeting and break down what we just saw because it's very fresh in all of our minds. And we want to watch it right away. That way we don't get any spoilers. So we leave the Zoom for a few minutes and come right back in. And so if anybody has just watched an episode that just dropped of Skeleton Crew, right after it drops, come on into our Zoom link and hang out and let us know what you guys think.
And once again, I want to thank everybody who was able to get tickets for the Not So Virtual Cantina. We're very excited about that. I'm still in awe that 4 minutes, completely 100% sellout, which is great. Thank you very much also to Fantha Tracks and Jedi News for giving us some great press on the sellout as well. We're looking forward to seeing you all in Japan, and more information about what's happening in Japan in the coming days and coming weeks. Make sure you follow the Virtual Cantina Network on all of our channels, whether you are on Facebook, YouTube, the group formerly known as Twitter, everything basically. See what's going on. We're glad to have members of all walks of life and around the world. Over 70,000 members worldwide, making us the world's largest Star Wars Celebration fan page. And we're very excited, that we're marching on. So, Jeff, anything you want to close out with tonight?
No, I just appreciate the amazing work that you guys put into the shows. I loved your home video thing. I forget what it was called, John Wick.
I don't know who gave that title. It was a band that just recopied it.
Jedi John Wick. But that was amazing. So it's really cool to see somebody who's got that much knowledge and passion for the product or the product, the property, to be able to get into the actual process of making the shows. That's one thing I really like hearing about from all the different guests we've had, in all different factions of the shows. The fact that they were, into the Star Wars properties to begin with, and were, super, stoked. I'm a child of the 70s and 80s, so I say old slang for you youngsters. But the fact that everybody's so into that stuff, and then that just makes you can feel that kind of in the end result, I think. So I appreciate it.
Hey, Nick dropped gnarly earlier. Okay, you don't hear that unless you're Corey Feldman from the Goonies. So
did I really? Wow.
There's some of war stuff. They said gnarly, so it's almost like Sean Penn's character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High talked about the gnarly waves.
Just the goalie,
dude. Well, I used to surf a lot too. I used to sound like this, bro. Like
there you go. Sure,
Mr. Hand, isn't it our time? No. Dave, anything you want to close out tonight?
No, I just appreciate Nick, and I appreciate that knowing that Star Wars is in the hands of fans like yourself. Yes. Those are the people who are working on it. Totally evidenced by your background. We're looking into your room there, the Vader behind you, the Chewie with the surfboard. That image is actually on our last vacation racer.
Yeah. Oh, really?
We have that shirt that we wear, so it's like you are one of us. And
here. So I have more too. Just a little bit. Yes, it's right over here, which is.
Break it.
No.
Anyways, it's a whole lightsaber thing, and I have several different. I mean, I just got a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely truly a fan. So
that's
you're welcome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, what is your favorite lightsaber? I have to ask.
Whose is my favorite lightsaber?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I'm old school. I think it's Luke's from Return of the Jedi. So
Very nice.
I think
Anakin
that's.
saber.
I
Luke's
did.
that he built.
Yeah. I have to say I did kind of like, and that's why I like the lightsaber in this series with that color tone, the silver and gold.
Yeah.
Which is kind of simple. So the first time I saw Leia's lightsaber in the last of the trilogies, I was like, I kind of like that. And my mom, when she built her lightsaber, that's exactly what she made it look like without even knowing she had done it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I grab hers when we fight or spar, and I'm like, I kind of like the way that you built this one. So I mean, I have like kind of two.
That's great.
So.
Perfect.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We look forward to seeing you again on future episodes of the Virtual Cantina Watch Along. So, from Dave, from Jeff, and from Nick, everybody out there in the Neil Nation, we'd like to say, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.